Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be taking a look at the fourth and final stage of the Fighting Spirit event, and yeah, just basically seeing how difficult it's going to be. A lot of people have said it's quite difficult. I think it is relatively challenging. You are restricted quite substantially, but generally speaking I think it's pretty solidly fair. Obviously, yeah, I've kind of made my whole team just the free-to-play team. I do have the AGL cooler as a lead, and the rest of the team is all free-to-play units. I've also refrained from using the tech free-to-play metal cooler, obviously just to prevent the type difference, and I've taken a friend metal cooler lead as obviously he is the best lead overall. Now the best way to take on this event is to just use Ghost Ushers. Just use Ghost Ushers. The physical metal cooler will be doing a lot of damage, and the other metal cooler should be doing decent damage. So by using some Ghost Ushers and things like that, you should be able to pretty easily work your way through the event. At least for me, on the surface level of things, that's kind of the best way to go about it. Obviously, if you don't have an AGL metal cooler, then it is going to be a little bit more challenging for you, and your stats are going to be a little bit lower, which is going to be the main thing. Like, having the lower stats is where you're really going to kind of feel it, and you're going to notice the difference between your team's performance and say my team's performance. But yeah, it is definitely probably the harder of the events, basically. But yeah, it is one of those things, unfortunately, where you kind of have to decide around it or work around it, I think, and do your best. Obviously, having an AGL metal cooler is a huge help, and I think it is very difficult to say you can do it without them. You can, but it's just not going to be as fun, basically, or how can I say it, it will be far more unenjoyable. That being said, you should be okay. Like, with the amount of regen you have, you should be fine. You can run Whis items, but generally speaking, I would just go with items like the Ghost Ushers, really just to have free turns, especially when the metal cooler's on rotation, or you can switch it up and rather use a Whis when the metal coolers are on rotation. Especially on JP's side, they have the easy A for the metal cooler, so that obviously helps out a lot. But you could definitely use a Whis while the physical metal cooler, or while you have a strong rotation out, and then you can use the Ghost Usher when you have a much weaker free-to-play rotation out, and see how that goes. Just avoid bringing the tech cooler, realistically speaking, and this event will be easier in future, because remember, all of these free-to-play coolers are going to receive easy A's. So even though it may seem on the face of things really challenging right now, for some players, obviously just having the actual easy A's for the coolers is going to be pretty good. That being said, there are some sneaky options you can use. You can use like the Cyclopean Guard, which has 40% damage reduction, which is pretty good, and also gives defense to the rest of the rotation. He's a nice little option to use, a bit of a sneaky one. Obviously that can just kind of help you out. So yeah, he's cool, he's pretty nice to use, and at least gives you some kind of options. I wouldn't necessarily use the physical version though, because he only gives 1000 defense to allies. It's not really something that's useful anymore. But the AGL Cyclopean Guard, especially with a Whis active, is going to be tanking pretty well. So feel free to use him. It's basically like having Golden Frieza on rotation while the Whis is active, and he'll be able to set up your team at least a little bit. But yeah, obviously, guys, it's going to depend a little bit on RNG. You can reattempt it as many times as you want, but I think just playing Ghost Ushers, just pushing the turns back, getting whatever free damage you can, and using Whis items for strong rotations is good. Otherwise, just Whis and Icarus, and have 4 turns of just doing as much damage as possible, and you should be okay. Especially if you bring a friend metal cooler that's got some help built into him. You know what I mean? If he's got dupes and things like that, then generally speaking, you should be okay. So that's just my only real suggestion that I can kind of make. Obviously, it is relatively challenging, I think, for a lot of players still. Hopefully this helps you out, but obviously, guys, I think it is just important to kind of take note and just hopefully have the best of luck that you can, basically, in regards to how to take on the event and everything like that. But I think you will be fine. It is artificial life forms restricted, so you do have some great other options. But yeah, just give it your best attempt. But you should be okay. Following the team build I have, just try and find a pseudo replacement lead for the Wicked Cooler. And yeah, that's it. But cool. Bye.